Your Excellency, honoured guests, governors of BDI and alumni of GCC Board Directors Institute, welcome, salam alaikum.
Now, as you know, His Excellency sit really in the helm of very important section of the Saudi economy. Oil, energy, mineral, and chairman of Aramco. You cannot have a much better penetration through the Vision 2030 than what His Excellency is really leading to be.
Assigning roles, setting up of committees, managing dynamics, working as a team, putting the right confines to what they would step in and not step in as a board is something that is extremely important for them to be able to discharge all of the duties that I described within strategy, risk, and the third area, which is operation.
I think probably the most important quality in a chairman is independence. I mean, it goes without saying you've got to be honest and so on, but a certain robust independence, because you are meant to be detached from the day-to-day running of the company, but able to exercise the independent oversight on behalf of the shareholders as a whole. And with regard to the way the company fits into the community, so that kind of tough-mindedness, not getting captured by the management of the company is in my view, the most important attribute.
Independence, diversity, checks and balances, people that challenge sort of your business model, people that come from different industries. So really the diversity in the board, whether it's age, gender, knowledge, industry, I think that's very important. And we see that sort of taking place. We now have more diversity in boards, or try to put more diversity in boards.
It is absolutely responsible for ensuring that a robust and well-communicated strategy exists within the company for which you are chairman. Keep your eyes on the stars and keep your feet on the ground. That's the role of a board, and that's the role of the chairman.
Board members, I believe, should have, which is the emotional intelligence and empathy and a good understanding of the global market. Both should be on a track of continuous learning, keeping themselves updated with regulations, with international regulation, local regulation, and impact.
Remember that they don't act for the shareholder that voted for them or the shareholder that they represent on the board. And however, they act for the company as a whole, and in fact, a multiple number of stakeholders. Shareholders are one group of stakeholders, but also creditors, including lenders, employees, the government, the environment. And this is something that directors need to understand, that their role goes beyond just serving shareholders.
Now, the most important thing is that these points hopefully will improve the overall transparency, governance, and also give the chairman of boards some good ideas that were also presented today on how to best, run boards.
In today's world, it's almost impossible to do anything in the organization without touching on technology, without creating data. Where's that data going? Who's custodian of it? Who looks at it? When it walks out of your organization, whether it's through the front door or through an email or through the back door, what happens to it? What are the safeguards around it? When you do have an incident, who's on call? Who's going to respond?
Turn the floor over to Jane to close out the session.
Ziad, thank you very much indeed for your moderation this morning, and the panelists too. I think that was a very rich discussion. So it's my pleasure to just summarize now some of the rich findings today. I think we started off the morning talking about change, about global trends, with a huge emphasis on the Vision 2030 and the emphasis on accountability, and how the private sector needs to be the forefront of this change, and societal expectations that are out there. And so what are the key areas that the board needs to focus on? We've looked at what His Excellency said: successful people never be happy with the status quo. The glass is half full, yes, but let's fill the glass, let's make the glass bigger. I think we've looked at some of the key areas of board culture we've talked about today: avoiding conflicts of interest, the whole emphasis on transparency and disclosure, confidentiality. We touched on abuse of insider information, and of course we've talked a bit about business ethics throughout the day. But there was a lot of emphasis on holding CEOs to be accountable. A lot of emphasis there, but a lot of emphasis also, I think, on the role of the board, the role of directors. And I think it's very clear from the conversations we've had this morning how much more time we need to be focusing on boards, how much more time directors are going to have to spend on directors' duties. We heard from the first panel about how the board should really be leading this transformation process, and the critical role of the chairman in that role, particularly as a coach and a mentor to the CEO, and reviewing the performance of the CEO. I think we heard from Peter about the need to look through the front windscreen, not just the rearview mirror, and the importance of keeping your eyes on the stars but your feet on the ground, I think, Peter, you said, as well as talent management and diversity. Sabah, I will remember your building relationships between the board and the management, I think, as an essential thing. And again, I think we've heard a lot about collaboration, not conflictual relationships, but about collaborative processes. IT strategy as part of this transformation process as well, and really the need for boards to be more aware of, I think, not just the risks, although obviously I think you've frightened us all, but certainly the opportunities that there are out there as well with new technology. And I think then obviously the need for chairmen to encourage the contribution of everybody on the board, to look at board education, and to look at the relationship particularly between the chairman and the CEO. We heard from Simon about what great chairmen do, and that's their commitment. They do their homework, they work hard, how they add value. And it's not just looking at the internal workings of the organization, but looking at the external landscape as well, and how that chairman is the independent friend, again, to the CEO. So relationships and board dynamics and how important they are. The notion of independence, and this conflict perhaps or controversy between nominee directors being nominated by shareholders on boards, and this idea of having independent directors and where the value comes from. And I really did like Khalid's view of when you become a new director, understanding not just the governance of the organization, not just the business of the organization and where the drivers and the risks are, but understanding where the independent views are coming from. And we talked a little bit about director induction. We talked about the need for increasing and continual director education as well. So we've really covered quite a lot of issues today. I think it's been some very rich discussions. I've certainly enjoyed every moment, so I really hope that you have.